How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Living Dead Formats, where physical media never dies. Today we are doing another Deathcore collection update. Hope you enjoyed that horror movies to watch or avoid episode last time on this channel. We are getting back at it though with some of that heavy shit, and then after this probably some punk stuff. So yeah, a bunch of tunes coming your way very soon, but let's talk about the stack we have here today. First up is a project that was featured in the last Deathcore collection update, and I didn't really talk too highly about them. It's going to be pretty much the same for the first album, but I've got two albums by this band. Who I'm talking about though is Emir. This album is Eternal Enemies. It was from 2014 and is their sixth album. These guys, if you haven't been following along, started in 2003. They are a deathcore and at sometimes sort of nu metal-y project out of Connecticut, USA. Their vocal stylings are kind of like high-pitched vocal stuff and growls with some more lower growls, and then of course they have that hardcore kind of talking stuff. There's a lot of hardcore talking in this one. A lot of like tough guy talking about whatever is going on in this. Not really my thing. It's okay in small doses, but this album they pretty much did it every single song and pretty much through almost every verse. It felt like there was the deathcore growls and stuff, but it seemed more like he was trying to be super duper tough guy in this one and just talk through a bunch of things. There is the inside tray. Some of the vocal presentations on this too remind me a bit of Attila in the delivery. By 2014, Attila was definitely a thing, so I'm not sure who influenced who. Wouldn't surprise me if Franz was influenced by Emir, but who knows? Maybe the front man of Emir was influenced by Franz. I don't know. They probably toured together, so it wouldn't surprise me. Anyways, this album is not the greatest. I don't know if I enjoy this one better than the Respect issue or not. I would probably listen to the Respect issue, if we're being honest, over this one by a point. Like if the Respect issue, I can't remember what I rated it last time. If it was like a 4 out of 10, this would be a 3.5. So it's not too much higher. And yeah, it's one of my least favorite Emir albums so far. But then 3 years later, they came out with Look at Yourself from 2017, their 7th album, and this was way better. It still has that kind of like hardcore tough guy talking stuff that he does, but it also incorporates more Korn-ish elements and the neater kind of more epic stuff from Attila. So yeah, it's got high-pitched spooky Korn riffs in this, and it's more nu metal-y in this one. This is probably my favorite Emir album so far out of the ones that I own. Is there stuff maybe prior to the stuff that I've got so far, or maybe post the stuff I got so far? Maybe. And I know there's an album or two in between some stuff that I've bought as well. From what I own, this is definitely my favorite Emir album so far. Look at Yourself. It's great. It's got the deathcore stuff. It's got the growls. It's got the hardcore tough guy shit. It's got the Korn style riffs. It's got the Attila type riffs. Some of the vocal delivery. This one is probably the best so far that I have. Let me know what you guys think of Look at Yourself. And am I crazy for not liking Eternal Enemies, or are you there with me who's going, yeah, Eternal Enemies is kind of bleh. Those are the two Emir ones I have. Besides those two albums, they also have 6 other albums and 1 EP if you're interested. Let's move on to the next item. Next item to talk about is Job for a Cowboy. After their super deathcore Doom EP, they came out with this, Genesis. And Genesis was quite the departure from the Doom EP, as this one is more just straight up meat and potatoes death metal with maybe an inkling here or there of deathcore stuff. But Yeah. Oh, anywho, let's get caught up. Job for a Cowboy is from Arizona, USA. It started in 2003. It started as a deathcore band and then moved into more death metal elements and even some progressive and technical death metal. I'm pretty sure Demonocracy was more technical death metal, and that's why I can't stand Demonocracy, because I don't like tech. Anyways, after their first EP, they dropped 2007's Genesis, and then after this, they have 4 other albums and 2 EPs, one being the Doom one that I just talked about, and one called Gloom, which is that like Doom metal a little bit? That'd be interesting to see if they went more of a Doom metal element with some deathcore. Doomcore? Is that what the Gloom EP is about? I'm probably getting my hopes up too high. Anyways, Genesis, when I first heard it, way back in the day, was pretty good. Just listening again today as a refresher after getting it a week or so back, probably a little bit more now, it's not that great. It is a fairly uneventful kind of death metal style album. It's got the low growls and it's got the technical, like quick, low tremolo riffs and stuff in it. And it's got the like kicks, but I don't know. I feel like every other death metal band could do that better. These guys are more interesting when they aren't just trying to run the middle of the road, you know? If they pick the deathcore side of things, great. Doom was an amazing EP. If they pick progression and weird off-time stuff and melody, great. If they pick like tech, it's not my thing, but at least it's more interesting than this. I'll have to check out Ruination, because the in-between of Demonocracy and Genesis, it probably is better than Genesis, right? Tell me Ruination is better than this, because, I don't know. I know, though, what I do know is that I'm probably going to eventually pick up Sun Eater and more than likely Moon Healer someday. I don't know when, but those strike me as good Job for the Cowboy albums, and they probably would pique my interest. I'm going to have to just go on YouTube and obviously sit through Ruination and see maybe if something in Demonocracy tickles my fancy or not, but they're probably not. But yeah, tried their first album, hoping it was more like Doom, and it was more of a letdown than anything. What's your thoughts on Genesis by Job for a Cowboy? Next up is an album that I thought I used to hate, but considering what I just listened to from Emir and Job for a Cowboy, this was actually the more interesting thing. Although Look at Yourself was still probably better than this, but I digress. This is Thy Art is Murder with Holy War, and that is the more PC safe cover. What I'm used to is this. That is the cover I'm used to, with the jihad, terrorist, suicide bomber cover. More metal, more edgy, more pushing the boundaries, you know? That's what metal has to do, you know? It's got to be edgy and push boundaries and piss people off, because that's what metal is supposed to do. Anyway, there's the inside. It's got the person praying to who knows who. Maybe Allah, maybe not. There's behind the tray. So, again, this was an album that I thought I hated or just didn't like, but then after listening again today and when I first picked it up, pretty good. Honestly, not bad. It's not Infinite Death, and it's definitely not The Adversary, but honestly, it's a fairly listenable deathcore album. Anyways, if you don't know who Thy Art is Murder is, they're a deathcore band out of Sydney, Australia. Cool, got some Australian representation in this bitch. Started in 2006, and besides this, they have 5 other albums, 1 EP, and 2 splits, which Wikipedia decided to call 3 EPs. Splits are not an EP. There's a reason why they're called splits. So that's what they have left out there if you're into Thy Art is Murder. I haven't heard anything past this album. I'm not sure if it's worth looking into or not, but if it's better than Hate and better than this, maybe it's worth checking into. Let me know if I should check out anything post Holy War by Thy Art is Murder, or should I just try to hunt down a reasonably priced version of Adversary and call it a day. But yeah, if for whatever reason you're questioning picking up 2015's Holy War by Thy Art is Murder, their 3rd album, maybe give it a shot. Listen to it on YouTube or something first. Honestly, it's not as bad as I remember, and actually is a lot more interesting than the other things that I just went over on this episode. Holy War by Thy Art is Murder. All right, next is 3 albums by a project that is pretty good. We just heard from some fairly big name deathcore people. This is start getting into something that is maybe not first tier, well-known deathcore. Now we're getting to maybe second tier, but you might consider them first tier depending how wide stretched your first tier is. That sounds wrong. Anyways, I was insanely shocked to see this at my local Deja Vu, which is where I got 90% of these deathcore albums, by the way. Someone just unloaded their entire collection and said, fuck it, I don't care about deathcore anymore. Thankfully they did, because check it out. Upon a Burning Bodies, The World Is Ours. Their first album. Yeah, look up the price of this shit on Discogs and tell me how lucky I am, because wow, I'm pretty sure it's $60 plus shipping or more. Probably way more, but yeah. So stoked to get this, even if this was a shite deathcore album. It's rare as fuck nowadays. So yeah, pretty cool. Is that Al Pacino? Oh no, Salvador Dominguez. Yeah, I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. More Sumerian core, as people would call this. This is like, well, this is from 2010, so it's just on the cusp of MySpace deathcore, but it has that rawness, it has that ferocity, and it's got that oomph to it that kind of era of deathcore had. So yeah, really, really good. Feeling pretty blessed to have a copy of this, because I know how hard it can be to get it. I know people were like blowing their minds and loads knowing that I have a copy of Infinite Death on CD. Don't worry, I am very appreciative that I still have a copy of that in my collection. But yeah, this one is one of those ones that you're like, you hold on to this shit even if you're not into the genre anymore, because you're never going to get a copy again without emptying your wallet and then some. Babbling aside, this is actually a really good album. I enjoy the heck out of their first album. It's just your typical MySpace style deathcore, but it's good stuff. The vocals are like high and low trade-off vocals with even some gang chants here and there. The intermission, I think, has that chug, 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 talking about the breakdowns. Gang vocals in it, which is kind of amusing. Very dated, but really good album by Upon a Burning Body. Let's catch you up. Upon a Burning Body started in 2005 and are out of Texas, USA. I'm assuming probably closer to either New Mexico or Mexico type of Texas, because they have a very like Mexican feel about their imagery and the way they talk about things. Let me know if I'm wrong. Very Spanish Texas mix there. And besides what I'm showing, they also have 3 other albums and 2 EPs. One EP you're probably never going to get, and the other one I think was more recent. I can't remember. But yeah, one of them was definitely really, really hard to find. They have a demo called Upon a Burning Body as well, I think. That's probably $1 million to try and find. But yeah, moving on. This was the album that got me introduced to Upon a Burning Body. Like probably everyone else, Red, White, and Green. I'm not exactly sure of the single that got me into this project. And none of the song titles are popping out to me which one specifically it was, but let me know the single or singles that was off of Red, White, and Green that was kind of like the main thing. This came out in 2012 and is their second album. Don't know if I showed the inside. There's the inside there with the colors of that flag. And it is an interesting in-between middle child of the raw MySpace core era of Upon a Burning Body and the album that followed it. And the funny thing is, even though this is the one that introduced me to them and I really, really enjoyed it back in the day, I like their first album better and the rawness of it better, but I also like this album better for the different turn it took. This is The World Is Our Enemy Now. So yeah, the 2 World albums I enjoy more than the one that introduced me to the band. There's the inside there. There's behind the tray. I'm assuming that's the lead singer. the pictures of. It's funny because he kind of looks nerdy in a couple of the videos that I've seen. Got like the glasses and like the button-up shirt and everything. The riffs in this album are sick, very energetic and groovy and catchy. There's some very, dare I say, Slipknot sounding riffs in this that I really enjoy. Put on this album and tell me you don't hear some Mick or Jim Root riffs in there, especially with the tuning they get going on. Very Volume 3 sounding riffs. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I like Slipknot guitar riff sneaking into deathcore. I really enjoy that. But yeah, really good album. If it's overlooked for whatever reason, because this was only $2, 2 Canadian dollars at my local Deja Vu disc. It wasn't scratched, it wasn't harshly used or anything like that. It didn't have the may contain imperfections that lead to skips sticker that they have on some of the super duper on sale stuff. This was in the regular section for $2. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this album only $2? Who deemed it unworthy of a proper $8.99 or $11.99 used disc price? This album is worth whatever you have to pay for it, honestly. Not $2. It is worth way more than $2. But my point is, check out The World Is My Enemy now if you haven't and you're into deathcore. Fantastic. I love that album by Upon a Burning Body. Gonna have to check out Into the Barrio or whatever that is, and then the Red album. They're just really good. All right, last couple of albums, and they are by Winds of Plague. This one is Against the World, and it has a really funky slip sleeve. So yeah, that's it there. It's the W and the bones. And then you got the usual looking samurai guy there. Pretty cool. I dig that the samurai is kind of their mascot for whatever reason. He's on the back side of the case too. There's the disc and the inside of the disc. More samurai guy. Anywho, love the aesthetics, love the blue. I love the tinfoil slip sleeve and the see-through part. They did really well when it came to the packaging on this. They started in 2002, so before a lot of these guys, like a year before, a couple of them, and they came out of California, USA. They're a deathcore band, but they also have symphonic elements and nu metal elements and metalcore elements and hardcore elements. They're basically like a loaded banana split with all the fixings type of deathcore. So they got a lot of good stuff and a lot of tricks up their sleeve that they can pull out when they need. Again, this is their third album from 2011. Pretty good. Drop the Match is a little edgy. The video is really bad and old looking, but there's a couple of pretty sick tracks on here though. Against the World itself, Monsters, One for the Butcher is okay, Built for War is meh. But yeah, then they moved on after that, did an album after that, and then they finally dropped this, their fifth album, Blood of My Enemy, from 2017, and it's their final album, sadly. It's a really good one, and I didn't expect them to kind of go the way they did with this one. It's a little bit more melodic, a little bit more mature sounding. The production is great. There's the tray there. And the vocals on this, the main guy, I'm not sure if there's two vocalists or not by this time, or if it's just still the same guy. I didn't really check out the lineup for this, unfortunately. But he kind of has this J-Man from Mushroomhead growls going on, and it's pretty neat. I like that has some familiarity to it because I do enjoy Mushroomhead. Yeah, for the most part, it's just mid-tone growls and some like rappy, hardcore-ish vocals, tough guy vocals going on. So there's a lot to like or possibly not like about this band, but everything that they sprinkled in on top of the deathcore, I enjoyed. I'm definitely going to seek out their other albums when I can, because I'm also been recently getting more into punk as well. So it's kind of like choose your poison, right? Like you can't buy everything, so you have to buy bits and pieces here and there from what you like, and there's so much good music out there. So yeah, it's really hard. They got 3 other albums to pick up besides these, and they've got 4 demos. They don't have any EPs from what I'm aware, at least not from the research I did. But honestly, there's quite a few eras of Winds of Plague. Start at the beginning, of course. Start at Decimate the Weak. If that tickles your fancy, then maybe move on and see the progression of them. But if you are a fan of Winds of Plague, let me know what your favorite era of Winds of Plague are. Let me know what your favorite elements of Winds of Plague are. Do you like the early, just straight up MySpace deathcore type of stuff? Or do you enjoy the fact that they went like progressive, symphonic, new metal-y, whatever by the end? I enjoy all of it. I like to see the progression, and it's probably the best project on here. And then Upon a Burning Body, you don't count Sun Eater and Moon Healer. Job for a Cowboy is probably the last. And then Emu and Thy Art is Murder can fight it out. Who's the better deathcore band? One because they're just pure deathcore, or one because they're new metal-y and deathcore. But yeah, I'll have to listen to the other Thy Art is Murder albums to really decide. Let me know again if anything post Holy War is worth listening to. Have I been missing out for a while, or is it just kind of whatever? So yeah, that's it. That is my fat stack of deathcore for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. My apologies if you're not into it. Maybe you're watching just because of me. That would be cool. I appreciate that. And if you've made it this far, again, press that nice, fat, juicy, red steak of a subscribe button. It would really, really help me out and let me feel relevant in this world, and let me know there's a point to making these videos besides just kind of doing archival footage for myself or my kids to watch in the future if I pass on. Anywho, that's it. You've been watching the Living Dead Formats channel, where physical media never dies. And remember, they can take down streaming, but they'll never take our discs. Cheers.